Oh, goodness. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. Hello, we are live. I was getting a pop up message in my StreamYard. Okay, today we have Karen, Christine Patrick, and Janet Carelison, and we are talking about the UFO party. Oh, it's on the title here. What's it called, Karen?
Flying saucer
Flying,
party.
Flying Saucer Party. So, on June 27th, 1947, in Washington State, Kenneth Arnold flew from Chehalis. Is that how you pronounce it?
Chehalis. Lots
Chehalis,
the H, yeah.
Washington, and he saw 9 unidentified flying objects, which we call UFOs back then. They were hovering over Mount Rainier during this flight. And he was astonished by their movement, and he described them as saucers skipping on water, which led to the press coining the term flying saucers as a name for UFOs. After he landed, he investigated this phenomenon and he eventually documented his findings in a book called The Coming of Saucers, a documentary report on sky objects that have mystified the world. So today we have with us Karen Christine Patrick. This is the Aquarian Media Show. We're going to discuss the festival that has emerged. I guess it's going to be an annual event to commemorate the significant event called the Flying Saucer Party. That sounds like fun. This will be in Chehalis, Washington on September 13th and 14th, 2024, which is in a few days. All right, Karen, let me get back to my screen. Ha ha. I'm going to minimize this without losing my stream here. Here we go. Hi, it's been a while since we've done a
Hi.
show. I'm glad. This is just a brief thing. We're only going to be a little while. But Karen, this is the little PowerPoint that you created. Would you like to
Yes.
take it away and explain what's going on?
Oh, yes. Yes, a lot has happened. I won't
Yes.
get into since the last time we chatted, particularly on air. But Brett, my partner, and I ended up in Washington State for family considerations and discovered just a sec. I have a dog. I get dog hair on me, so I'm just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
keep going. Oh, you know how it is
I
with kitties
got to
and
get
stuff.
cat hair on me.
Yeah. Yes, we I found out about this event just not that long ago, about a month ago or so, and I went down there to find out more about it. And what I like about it is being put on by the Lewis County. That's the county that Chehalis is in. Lewis County Historical Society, and it's being featured and is a fundraiser for the Lewis County Historical Museum. And the museum is pretty cool. It's an old train station that no longer trains don't stop, but boy do they whiz by really loud. So you'll be talking to somebody in there, and all of a sudden you got to stop because the train goes by pretty fast. But they turned this museum or this train station, this sort of a historical building and area into a museum. And what I love about this event is, as some of people may have met me at Roswell, we were in New Mexico before this, and Roswell has the UFO museum. It's kind of nice to see a museum say, hey, there's a thing going on. Let's talk about it instead of pretending like stuff didn't happen. And this was a real significant event here. Uh, what happened with Kenneth Arnold and other people who witnessed some things as well. And so that's kind of the fact that they decided to make a party is even more fun. So there's fun activities for all ages, which is really cool. Plus some serious stuff. If you're into serious stuff, they have some speakers coming that, well, in my presentation here, I will talk about the speakers in a minute. But Brett and I got involved. There's a parade. My favorite activity we did is there's a parade on Saturday, and we helped to make 9 uh, paper mache UFOs. And
Wow.
there's going to be they got handles on them, so there's going to be a dance troupe of young people who are going to fly them around, and that's going to be at least one of the activities that happen. So because I don't know everything that's going on with the festival, kind of new to the case fully and new to the festival, I hope that people will look up, they can call the museum to ask about it, and then we'll have more contact information as we go along so that you can find out more for what you'd be interested in knowing about. So you go to the next slide. Oh, this is Kenneth Arnold. This was not him in 1947. This is later. He became kind of famous in the press. And this was sort of a press picture of him looking for more of them, I think.
Yeah, they always have you looking up back in those days.
I'm always looking up,
Look
that's what
up,
I do.
look up.
I look up. Okay, so the gist of his case, I'm currently reading his book, by the way. I'm not all the way through, but hopefully by this thing happens, I'll be all the way through his Flying Saucers book, which is quite good because it's just right to the minute of what it was he was doing and how he kind of investigated afterwards. And it wasn't just his sighting; he was checking in with other pilots and other people who've seen things as well. But his own experiences, the pilots around this area get called to look around if there was a crash, and I guess there was a crash of a small plane with a reward if somebody found it. So he went up. He was already going to fly it to from Chehalis Airport to Yakima, Washington, and he decided he'd go check out Mount Rainier and see if he could find this downed plane. And so this was June 24th, 1947, 2 weeks before the Roswell incident. Just so you know, so Northwest people, we got a little claim to fame there of several incidents that happened at around the same time. But anyway, June 24th, 1947, he flew out from Chehalis, Washington. Our airport here happens to be behind Walmart, just so anybody wanted to know. And he saw 9 UFOs over Mount Rainier. And the reason why we got the term flying saucers is he said they flew like a saucer skipping on water. So I don't know. I skipped rocks as a kid. So if you just kind of
Right,
that sketchy movement where it hits the water and kind of bounces, they kind of bounced along a weird, unusual movement, not typical aircraft at the time. So the press went, oh, flying saucers. So they kind of ran with that, probably derisively, but yeah, they instead of calling it properly UFOs, and now I guess we call them UAPs. At the time, he called them. That's where he got the term. Then, after he landed and subsequent time afterwards, he investigated, which is, I'm in the middle of that part of the book where he's
uh-huh,
investigating. I'm talking to other people, and a lot of weird stuff happened. As anyone who's ever been an experience knows that, but wait, there's more of things that happened to him as well. But anyway, he did write his experiences in the book. The Coming of the Saucers, a documentary report on sky objects that have mystified the world. And I think we owe him some respect for the fact that he's a pilot and he decided to talk about it. And I appreciate that about pilots when they are willing to come and talk about their experiences and help us fill in the gaps as you know, credible people, but they get discredited, unfortunately, often. But
right.
he at the time there was no apparatus for discrediting him. That kind of came later, and so he was able to uh, talk about it in the press at the time. And it was very hot off the presses. This just in, like
Right,
you see in the movies where they have the little
right.
newspaper spinning. I
Yeah.
mean, it was that kind of event. And so, anyway, they commemorate that in this conference and this festival. So, next slide.
Okay, here we go. Oh, that's fun.
This, yeah, this is a poster that they have, and I want to explain this poster because it's really cute. This is downtown Chehalis. It's an older town. It's kind of a railroad town,
Uh-huh.
part of the port of Lewis County, where we had a river. The river, Chehalis River, was used for transporting goods and trade. And then we got the railroad, so that's hence the railroad coming right through town.
Uh-huh.
And that was the next stage of it. And then the little old fashioned town is still kind of there. So this is what it looks like. And if you look to the left and you see that marquee that looks like a movie studio, a movie
Yeah.
theater, that's where it's going to be held. McFilers
Oh,
is the
they really do
company.
have the old marquee.
Yeah. They're going to have the speakers and everything right there. They're also going to have activities at the museum, which if you go to the right of the screen where you see that building with the red car, and you just kind of keep going that direction,
Uh-huh.
you'll see the train station. It's pretty close to the train station. Everything's very walkable. So there's a standard issue UFO, the Volkswagen of UFOs right there
Yeah,
that they got. And but I want you to point to this little guy, this little duck looking thing.
Daffy Duck.
Oh, no, it's not really. We have an outfit, a long-term trading post, huge
Uh-huh.
building called Yard Birds, and that's the yard bird that
Oh, the
is
yard
being
bird.
abducted. Yeah, the yard bird is being abducted. I thought it was and the theme of the conferences here is disclosure, because why not? And
Why
so
not?
that's what the theme is for the speakers and all,
Oh,
and
that's
what a
great.
lot of us are talking about too, right?
You
Disclosure.
know, a
How
lot
are
of
we
these
going to
old
disclose this
towns
thing?
have these big flat roof buildings, and I just wonder what was that about because they all leak over time. So,
Yeah, yeah. But they kept the old school charm of this downtown area. It has a lot of fun shops and
well,
good
believe
places
it
to
or not,
eat.
downtown Wailuku and not Kahului, but Wailuku looks like that.
Oh
Looks like
yes,
you went
like a
to
lot of
a
little
Wild
towns.
West town. Yeah, it's like wow.
Yeah, yes. Expect the
Okay,
horse to go by. Okay, next slide.
next slide.
Okay, so I tried to give you a map of kind of where this is in relation to I-5. I don't know the exit number, but it's off of
Oh,
I-5. You see the town Chehalis right there. And just so you know, it's a downtown area. It's pretty small. I didn't put a marker to where the museum is, but I just wanted to have people know this is an easy place to get to. It's just right off I-5. So
so
that's
what
the main.
airports are close?
The Chehalis Airport is behind the. If you go on that map and you go to the left and like the northwest.
What if you were flying in from like another big city? What would you would
Uh, I'm not sure because I haven't flown in so long. I haven't. SeaTac, the major airport around here is Seattle Tacoma, called SeaTac, and it's another couple hours north
okay? So you'd have
of
to
that.
fly into Seattle, and then you could take a puddle.
Yeah,
I call those puddle jumpers.
yeah, some kind of either a little plane or even a. There's quite a few services by shuttle bus to get
Shuttle
around.
bus. Yeah,
Yeah, I've usually taken a shuttle bus when I come
I
through
like.
SeaTac.
Yeah, the buses
Yeah.
are fun.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
next.
oh no, not the next slide because you're gonna look at this flying saucer up here. This is a special one. This is
Okay,
a artist rendition of the flying saucer that was the lead one. There was 9 of them, but they weren't all the same. But some people think they're the same. But they were more of a delta wing, but they
yeah.
flew like skipping on water. So it was already at the beginning of the story. There's weird twists and turns of the descriptions and things.
So
So
he didn't
that's
say it
why I
was a
touched.
delta wing, or he didn't say it was a wing. He called it a saucer. So he must have seen the round ones, or
No,
he just
he just saw it skipping on the water.
saw it
Like
skipping. So
if you
that
took a, I don't know. Apparently, somewhere in his background, he was unhappy or was playing around, and he took a plate and skipped it on the water. I did that with rocks. He did that with a plate. I don't know. Or he
okay,
saw
cool.
someone do that, but he was talking about the movement of them, and they were going very fast. He clocked them initially going 1,000 miles an hour, which is pretty fast for too fast for anything we had at the time. And then
Yes.
later, the calculation was redone at roughly 1,700 miles an hour. So
Wow.
that they're going very fast. So yeah, next slide.
Next slide.
Here's
Okay,
the
the
roster of the
speakers.
speakers. Yeah, yeah, this is the roster of the speakers. And if you go, it's Connie Willis, Kevin Day, Steve Edmonston, and Charlton Hall. And I have not met these people, but I'm going to meet these people. These are new people to me, so that'll be fun. So if you want to hit the next slide, we'll talk about the
Sure,
speakers a
let's
little
look
bit.
at that.
Yes, Connie Willis is a guest host of Coast to Coast, and I haven't heard her yet, but I heard she's good. And she's going to be speaking. It says that she's been involved in countless discovered UFOs, of course, and she's going to talk about her views of disclosure. And I think that'll be interesting. I like to hear different people's ideas of that. And again, the speakers will be at the McFiler's Theater. You can go in and watch one of the speakers for, I don't know, I'm not sure what the price is. Call the, I'll have the contact information. You call them,
Right.
and yeah, or you can get a VIP pass. And I have Q code at the end of this where you can go to get the VIP pass and you can see all of them as well as some of the other activities that are going on. So
Great. Wow, that's great.
and this is Kevin Day. He was a Navy pilot, and he was there when the Tic Tac incident. And lots of people know about the Tic Tac incident. There's a photo
Right.
of it happened. That one's generated a lot of more, I guess, recent discussion about what's that, and has been drawn attention to by Navy pilots and important people and stuff. So he's going to be talking about that event, which I think is one of the seminal modern events right now about
So, what time does this
UFO discovery.
start?
Got to go to the website and find out the schedule because I
You
don't know. So
don't know the
sorry
schedule.
about that. I'm coming in as a late
That's fine.
promotional
That's fine.
thing, but yeah, that's his going to be his
Does it
presentation. I
go?
think about it.
Is it one day or a couple days?
There's some Friday stuff that's going on, but the speakers are primarily Saturday, and I think the last event that happened, there is a film festival in there, so that's going to be fun. I believe that's
Yeah.
on Saturday, and
I
I'll.
was at one in Yale,
Oh
Oregon.
yeah, yeah, Yelm is not
Sounds
far.
like it's very similar. Local
Yeah,
theater,
not
very
right.
quaint, fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's a
go to
number of.
big events, but sometimes the smaller ones are more fun. You get
Oh
to know
yeah,
each
because
other better.
you get to know people. Yeah, you get to hear all the stories. I like smaller ones as well. And if you want to go to the next slide, we'll talk about the next speaker.
Okay, next speaker.
Steve Edmiston. Now, part of the story that goes on was right at around the same time as the Ken Arnold event thing that happened, his
Uh-huh.
sighting. There was also another famous sighting around here called the Maury Island incident. And it's the gist of that is there was some UFOs passing over Puget Sound waterways north of us, and one of the UFOs was looks like it was in trouble and it was dropping stuff out of it, and the stuff landed on a boat that was out in Puget Sound, and with very bad results. It hit and killed a dog for one thing, and there was chunks of it just everywhere. And
Wow.
so during that event, this was the first sighting of the Men in Black. So that's the claim to fame of the Maury Island incident, is that this is the first time the Men in Black went around and warned people not to talk. So again, that's not a case I know all that well, although I lived on a boat, as you know, for 7 years in Puget Sound, and I have seen a lot of weird stuff. Nothing that weird and nothing that rained down uh, debris on me, thank God. But yeah, so
Well, if it
he's going to be
started
talking
in the
about that.
40s, that makes sense that they wore hats because we don't wear hats much, but in the 40s they had the black hats.
Oh yeah, I got a hat like that. See my
Oh,
festive
you
fall
have that.
hat. I have a hat. Well, because you want to here, you just don't want the rain to hit your face. So yeah.
Right.
um, and that's my festive fall one. Every fall I make a festive fall hat because that's my favorite season. But anyway, so this guy's going to talk about that, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Let's see. Next slide. And here we have Charlton Hall, and he's a bit of a different guy. Basically a skeptic guy, and back in the 70s, he did some fake stuff to try to fool people and I guess have a laugh. And in the 70s, being his age, he probably was kind of a kid. I my first sighting was when I was 18, so uh, yeah, it was there. It was a naive time in terms of this topic, and we didn't have the internet or a lot of ways to like find out about it. So if somebody did pull a prank, we're kind of vulnerable to that at that time. So he's going to present that point of view is uh, the kinds of pranks that have been that he
Was that his
perpetrated at other
creature
people.
in
Huh?
the article there? Was that the one he created?
Yes, I believe so. So he calls himself a hopeful skeptic, or hopeful believes in hopeful skepticism. So it seems like he's trying to share what he did in the hopes that people will be a little bit more discerning and you know uh, understand what they're looking at and make sure it wasn't something
Because actually,
else.
that creature, I have seen interviewed people that it's not exactly, but it's similar. So I wonder if It's kind of interesting. People,
Well,
they create things based on something that might be imprinted in the back of their mind, and they're not willing to address it, so they make it into a fiction, and they don't find out until they regress in therapy or somewhere in time it starts to emerge. Anyway, I've seen this creature, and it was a real creature, and it was a very detailed story. Trying to remember the gentleman's name. Anyway, he was on my show, one of my interviews. Starts with a P, I know that. But he no, they took him interdimensionally. He had physical markings, like he had radiation burns. So, yeah, I just wondered because it looked very similar to that. But this
yes,
looks like
but
somebody who was trying to dress up to look like, like a Halloween costume or maybe something that could have been
yeah, I
real.
don't know too much
Fun.
about his story. I'll find out. I think I should have a recap and after this event, come
Oh,
back and
after
talk to you
that, you
after.
can tell us if you can, if you're
Yeah, I'll be
allowed.
your wandering reporter there
Yes,
to at the event.
if you could take
And
pictures, that would be great too.
yeah, I'd like to take notes and I'll try to take pictures and I'll do the best I can to kind of be a reporter of
Okay,
this event. Yeah, maybe
we'll
we'll
do that
recap.
for sure. We'll
Yeah,
follow up.
that could be fun.
Yeah, and you.
Okay, and that's the speakers that we're having. Like I said, there's some other events. There's the parade. There's fun things. The parade. There's going to be a thing called a saucer drop where they go to a high point and they have frisbees with prizes taped to the bottom, and they're going to throw those out to people and lots of opportunities to dress up. And there's a little bit of a influence of the McMinnville UFO event
Uh-huh.
intentionally in how they run things at this conference. I noticed that because I've been to the McMinnville one, and so I just was happy with the fact that the town took this on and they like everybody in this whole thing started it off, took some time off for the plague, right, and then they're kind of this is their second year coming back, so. I want to support them. If anybody comes to this because you watch this, come find me, and so I know. Hey, I next time I'll talk about it further earlier so that people can know about it because it's
So
this
how can they
weekend.
find you at this event, Karen?
I
You know,
will
wear
I will
something
just
special?
look I will have a green top, not this one. I will be wearing a an alien green top. I will look like me. And
Uh-huh.
if it's cool enough, I will be wearing my festive fall hat. But I couldn't put it on
Okay.
today because it dinks around with my my headset, so I couldn't wear it quite
Excellent.
yet.
Great. Okay. Do you have another slide?
Maybe.
Maybe. Let's see. Where are we?
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
There's.
this is contact information. If you have a phone and you click on that Q code thing, that'll link you to the VIP package, but it also have other information on that website. And like I said, they have a Facebook group. They have flying saucer party.org is another website. And the telephone number that you call, you'll probably get a really cool guy named Jason. Jason's executive director of the museum, and he's got a display even in the museum about the Kenneth Arnold event, as well as I think there's going to be some activities and vendors and things at the museum. So it's you will go hungry. There's restaurants, there's stuff to eat. It's
Let's
great.
see. Do they have
Yeah,
street vendors like they?
and good coffee. I just want to say I'm now back in the land of good coffee. I'm really happy about that. Really
We'll
good
have some
latte.
good
Oh,
coffee.
one other thing. There's an art mint coffee place next or near to McFiler's theater has a show, an art show that they're putting on this year, and I've got an entry, and my partner Brett has an entry, and I went with Silly, and he went with Sirius. So that's another event going on, and it's good coffee too. So
Wow. All this at once. Lots to do.
yeah,
And are there places for people to stay if they're or
I
go to
can't help
camp?
with that because I know where I'm staying. So yes, there's hotels and other things. Just look around Airbnb. You're on your own to have a place to stay. Like I said, if I catch this thing earlier in its progression, I'll have more information about places
Okay,
to
cool.
stay.
Yeah, is there like a camping or campground? It
Yeah,
seems like
there's
that.
campgrounds. Chehalis is located. So I'll give people the rundown of Washington State. There's Seattle. up north. And south
Huh?
of Seattle is Tacoma. And below Tacoma is Olympia. Below Olympia is Centralia. And below is Centralia. And next right to Centralia, Washington is Chehalis. So it's along I-5 going south from Seattle or SeaTac and
Well, it
north from
sounds like
north of
fun.
Portland.
I wish I could
Yeah,
be
so
there.
yeah. Well, it's good. It's just one of those things, and what I like about the festivals is I went away for 10 years to I was in New Mexico and Texas, but mostly New Mexico. Saw and what everybody was doing there, which is awesome. Came back here, and some of these festivals have really grown up, and it's really fun for me to rediscover. This is a new one for me, but also discover some of the other ones have gotten bigger. So I'm happy about that.
What's the weather like this time of year?
Well, we have Indian summer a lot of times in the Northwest. So we just had maybe our last spate of hot weather. Just it just blew out with the marine layer coming in. So probably between 68 and 78, somewhere in there. Pretty nice. Probably isn't going to rain. Not sure about the rain yet because,
Too
our
far
weather
out.
changes. Yeah, just, watch it and it'll change on you. But I would say dress in layers. Most of us dress in a t-shirt and a shirt, maybe a rain jacket, a hat.
Yeah.
Camping gear, the clothing is comfortable. There will be t-shirts for sale there if you need a t-shirt, and other swaggy items to get for all your UFO needs. And
Uh huh.
yeah, it's just, and if you get the VIP package, I think you get a t-shirt. So I'm excited about that.
Do you know what the
And
VIP package is, or
yes,
no?
it's about it's 85, I think. Don't quote me on that. But it's about
Okay.
85. And you get into everything, and
Uh huh.
behind the scenes and meet the speakers and, the typical well, you get the backstage pass in a sense, right?
Sounds like it would be fun to do that. Yes.
Yeah, so
Alrighty.
we're
So, anything else you want to say?
just that let's do a follow-up afterwards so I can
We'll make
show
that
what
up.
happened and also maybe we can do some more programs. I'm kind of full of, I've kind of took a contemplative time in my life, and I'm coming back ready to talk about a particular thing I wrote down today. Here, on one of my notes.
Okay.
I want to talk more about experiential disclosure. So I'm a bit dubious that, let's say the president gets up and whoever that is going to be, right? Gets
Remember
up and
this.
says, it's a real thing. And here's the guy from the Alpha Centauri and whatever. I, the problem with that is half the people won't believe him in the United States. So that's
Right.
the one problem. Well, the other thing is there's a lot of layers and levels to disclosure, and nobody really knows how that's going to happen. So for my contemplative time that I took off of all of this, but I mean that seriously. Me as a person, probably in a past life I was a monk or somebody who was up in the hills meditating, and that if there's a period of time that calls for me to be more contemplative, I do. But in that process, I talk to them. I'm a contactee. I don't like to say abductee, but that's happened. Contactee. I'm an experiencer. I have been in contact. I've got sort of a rundown of what's going on right now, and it's to me, it's the fact that we admit to ourselves that there's something that doesn't fit our reality construct
Right.
that we live by, and that lots and lots of people are having all kinds of experiences, and that it's those being open about it. I've learned so much by just being willing to talk about it myself personally, and it's those conversations that we have, giving ourselves permission to have those conversations and be open with each other, and to be okay with, hey, I'm the only person in my family or my neighborhood or something that had an experience, and then I think that will track with whatever happens as far as official disclosure. But I'm not going to wait for it. I'm in my 60s. I'm not going to
I
wait
think it's
for,
already happening, but that's just my opinion.
yeah,
There's
me too. And I think
billions
this
and
is how.
billions, if not billions, of people who have contact, and some remember it and some don't. That's the way it is. But we're connecting the dots right now. And it's really becoming apparent that something is there. It's not
Yes.
necessarily out there. It could be interdimensional. It's the whole field, paranormal. So what's going
Yeah.
on? Well, we're going to go into that in greater depth in future shows. So we'll try to do a couple times a month, maybe more if we get exciting breaking news. So thank you for coming to Aquarian Media. And I don't have an intro and outro yet because we were kind of on hiatus for the last couple of years. But we're back and we're ready to talk. So thank you. So
Okay.
tell your doggy and your partner hello. And aloha,
I will.
everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, ha.